What's good, everybody? Greg Hickman here with Systemly, and welcome to the Scalable Podcast. In this episode, I actually did a Facebook Live in our private Facebook community called the Scalable Service Provider. And I was just kind of sharing a story that happened the other day in one of our all-day coaching implementation days for our clients. And something came up, this tool that we share called the Optimized Work Week that a lot of our clients adopt and start to use when they go to start adopting the systems and installing the automation and the productization of their agency in order to grow. And it always comes back to how this one tool, the Optimized Week, has really enabled them to get the results that they actually came into the program for, right? They came in to productize their agency. They came in to install automation and systems so that they can remove themselves from their business. And yet it's this underlying fundamental habitual system that they've adopted that has generated the results. That's what this episode is about. So let's hop on over to the Facebook Live, and you can listen in on that conversation and really start to understand what are those things that maybe not everyone's talking about that actually are the things that lead to the results. Let's get it going. For 3 years, my agency built funnels and automation systems for the biggest names in marketing today. Since then, I've transformed that agency into a hyper-profitable training and consulting business. While everyone is out there talking about scale like it's some sort of destination, we'll be asking the real question. How do you transform your business into a more scalable model using the knowledge, skills, and expertise that you already have? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share the strategies I'm using to build my multi-million-dollar business. My name is Greg Hickman, and welcome to Scalable. On Friday, this past Friday, we basically did an all-day event with our clients, our leverage clients, and we did 3 kind of breakout sessions on different topics that our clients are working on. I broke down kind of a high level. We've been revamping our entire marketing funnel. So I did a whole session on like how I thought through what I wanted to do, what version 1 of that's going to look like. Then we also did a session that Lisa on our team held, and she talked about, creating and enhancing experiences by using small different pieces of technology that we use. And then Megan on our team talked through and shared kind of the behind the scenes of how we've been kind of turning our content creation process into a machine and the distribution of that. Like the videos like this get sliced and diced, turned into emails, social media assets and things like that all is not happening without me. Anyway, so we kind of broke down those 3 topics. And at the end of the day, we had a couple clients left on the call. And one of our clients, Chris, was talking about, his journey in growing his agency. And he kind of alluded to one of the tools that we teach in our program called the Optimized Week. And he basically said that, while he was building his agency, he thought that he was positioning himself to work on his business and do the things that were required of him to grow his agency. But the reality was he wasn't, and he was really just filling each and every day of the week with client work. And it turned into this cycle that kind of took over his life. And I see this time and time and time again with agency owners. And it is in many ways the very thing that is preventing you from having what you want, right? And so what I want to talk about today, high level, is this concept of the Optimized Week. Now, the Optimized Week is, if you haven't heard of time blocking, it's how me and my team and our clients approach time blocking so that we're working on the right things. As an former agency owner, and someone that coaches agency owners on how to productize and scale with systems, it constantly comes up where the only way you're going to make more money as an agency owner is by obviously adding another client, but oftentimes you don't have the bandwidth to even take that client on. So you your work and your client work specifically pours over into your evenings, early mornings, your weekends, and that often prohibits you from ever really working on your own business. And it just turns into this vicious cycle where you're always working on your client's stuff. And in order to get more money, you add on another client. And the time that should have been or was being used for you to work on your business, which was the weekend or the evenings, which also isn't the best time to be working on your business, that's now taken over by the next client, right? And yet you still aren't hitting the revenue that you want to, and there's no more hours left in the day, right? You are the business, you're stuck in fulfillment, and that's kind of the story. And so a lot of the people that come to us are in that situation where, they've capped out on revenue, they are the business, they want to expand, but they need to productize what they're offering so that they can tap into the systems and the automation to make their business more repeatable, automate their lead generation, their nurture, systemize their sales process, automate their fulfillment so they can remove themselves from the bottleneck as the bottleneck from those areas, right? That's the objective. But tactically, it's like, well, what do you work on? And then when do you work on it if all of your bandwidth is tied to your client's business? And so we have this thing called the optimized week. And I'm going to kind of break down a high level how we kind of approach this. And I go through this process every, I'd say every 90 days, give or take. And this is going to be a calendar. And we'll look at the days of the week. And then we'll tack on Saturday and Sunday over here. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? Obviously the days of the week. Now, like I said, I go through this process about every 90 days. My calendar adjusts. You may or may not do that yourself, but you have to have the room to work and work on the right things, not just be reactionary. And until you take control of your own calendar, your own day, your own week, you will always be a servant to your clients, period. This is why when you get on a plane, they tell you to put your mask on first if the plane is going down before you put on the mask of your own child who is sitting right next to you. And you need to literally take this into your business as well and start taking care of your damn self so that you can be the best for your clients and really the best for your own team. So here's the deal. You've heard of time blocking before. It's nothing new. If you've read the book The One Thing or Essentialism, these books, so many books talk about time blocking. Productivity, we talk about time blocking. What's going on? I can't see your name if you're chatting in right now, if you've just said, hey, bro, whoever that was. I have to look at my phone and see who's watching so I can see the comments. Let me quickly jump on. Just so I can see your comments, I will need to look at the phone real fast. Give me 1 second. Let's see where this... All right, well, this is not showing up for me. So anyway, thanks for those of you that are joining. Oh, Christian, what's going on, Christian? Sorry. So time blocking. You guys have all heard of this strategy, right? Many of you. If you haven't, well, welcome. The reality is right now, you basically, or many of you, will fill each and every day with your client workload. And the strategy was, oh, well, I'll work on my business on Saturday and Sunday. Well, now you're working on your business on Saturday and Sunday when you should probably be with your family or your loved ones and or taking time for yourself. And so maybe in the evenings, like if you're like, all right, well, like I'm going to work on my client stuff, and then my goal is to work on my business, in the evenings. Well, at some point you're going to say, well, I need to get a new client, and oh, I can add this client, but now that work bleeds into your evenings, right? And you leave yourself with no room to actually work on the things that are important to growing your business. And so what we've done is we've kind of structured our business to give us the time to actually work on our stuff. And honestly, it's beyond just our business. We want to. I look really sporty. Running seems to do a good job for you. Thank you. Really, the way I look at my calendar is if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. I just did a podcast episode called The Cash Flow Follows Your Calendar, and this is very much how we approach it. And I look at how do I theme my days. So, on Mondays, if we zoom in, I do a lot of, let me go back on this color here. I go, team, I have a bunch of calls, and then I do some sales stuff. Tuesday, I got a pocket of time where I'm doing my podcast, and then we have some coaching stuff. Wednesday is pretty much all sales for me right now. Tuesday is we got a little bit of miscellaneous in the morning, and what I call management time in the afternoon. And then Friday is literally all creation, no calls. And then Saturday and Sunday, I don't work, right? So I've created these blocks that are allocated to specific things. And I want to kind of break down, if you understand these concepts, the order in which I break down what goes in these blocks and where I create blocks first. So if we look down here, the first thing that I'm creating a block for, let me move this over. Let me go like this. The first thing I block on my calendar is self-care. So if you were to go look at my calendar, you'd see that like at between 5 a.m. and really 6:30, 7 a.m. is like Greg time. I'm reading, I'm meditating, I'm like stretching, depending upon the day I'm working out. Excuse me. Before the family gets up and does a bunch of stuff, I have to do a bunch of stuff. On specific days, I'll have blocks like right before I recorded today. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I go for longer, I do runs. And then Sunday is kind of my long run. And then I'll come in and say, okay, well, what's date night? Like Wednesday night is date night. I'm putting in all of the things that take care of me first, okay? That's what goes on the calendar first. Then the second thing is family, right? So like I said, this was date night. Then over here, I'll come in, I'll say, all right, well, let's pick a different color. Let's do this one. Like Saturday, this past Saturday, I put on the calendar for our family to go to the Greek festival. It's like I'm blocking time for family activities, right? And that's the second thing. Then the third thing is creation. I literally have blocks on my calendar for creation. This is where I will record content. I'll do stuff like this. I'll work on email copy. I'll work on things that will move the business forward. And I'm going to make that green because that's like money time, right? So like my podcast creation, that's a creation block. I have on Thursday, I have a morning creation block. Obviously I'm overlapping on some of these things right now just for the sake of me drawing. Friday is like mostly creation, right? Then we have, after creation time, I have manage and meeting time. So I literally put blocks on my calendar like management. Oops, let me go back to my orange. Like management, I have there. I have a management block here. And I really have about like 2 hours a week where if my team wants to meet with me, they block time within the management or meeting blocks to get a call with me, right? So like I'm dictating when they can come have a meeting. Now, management wise, like we have team meetings on Monday, and then we have a team huddle on Wednesday and also on Friday in the morning. So we're also talking at those points. But if there's like an off-topic thing that needs to be addressed, my team would literally just look at my calendar and look for availability in a management or meeting block so that they can get on my calendar. Okay. The next important one is buffer time. This is like literally intentional time where you don't assign anything. You can call it miscellaneous, what have you. I usually have a block scheduled for myself for lunch, each and every day. And usually right after lunch, I'll add a little, we'll use this blue here. We'll do a little buffer block. And sometimes I'll have like specific meetings and there's like a 30-minute gap. Like I'll just let those be buffer blocks. If there's like a task that I need to do that the team needs me for, or some task that I didn't get to because something else kind of went over, I have room left to kind of fill in the gap, right? I'm not filling my calendar to the minute where there's now no room to work on the stuff that is important. And then the last piece is planning time. And every Sunday, we'll use dark blue. Every Sunday, sometimes I do it in the morning, but usually it's right before dinner. I'll plan the upcoming week. So on my calendar, you'll see blocks of time that have nothing assigned to them yet, but you'll see it's called creation, it's called management, it's called meetings. And on Sunday, during this block of time, I'll go in and look at my calendar and look at my to-do list. And I will then go and fill in the upcoming week's blocks. I'll say, hey, in this creation block on Friday, I'm going to work on, or this one on Friday, I'm going to work on XYZ. On this creation block on Tuesday, I'm going to work on blah, blah, blah. The 2 episodes I'm going to record for the podcast this week are yada, yada, yada. And so when I come into my week on Monday and I hit my first creation block, I'll look in the creation block and I'll see the thing that I'm supposed to be working on, and then I go work on it, right? And the combination of these 6 areas allow me to prioritize what I need to work on, right? And I take care of myself first, my family, the stuff that's going to move our business forward, then, the whirlwind tasks. Now for you, depending upon how heavy your client base is, you might create a block of time for client support, right? I have a team that works on some of those things, so I don't need to be as involved. You saw here on my Tuesday, like I'm coaching our clients, like this afternoon is the date I'm recording is on Tuesday. Like all afternoon, I'm working with my clients. So like I have a dedicated time for that. It's not them dictating all the time. I'm waking up to fire drills and then go into immediate, reaction mode. This is intentional with how you use your time. And when we have clients come through and they start to see success, they literally always reference like taking back control of how they show up each and every week. And it's really just this tool of the optimized week. So if you feel like you are always in reactionary mode and you are filling all of your time with your clients' work and leaving no time left for your own health, your own family, or your own business, you will burn out and you will probably go out of business. You will sell your business for next to nothing. You might even have some sort of health issue. So like the sooner you start taking care of these things, the better you're going to be. Again, this is something that our clients work on, and in our 12-month program Leverage, like they're constantly reiterating how they plan and optimize their week. How your week works for you might not work for me. If you don't have kids, you're going to structure your week a little bit different, right? You might be more of a morning person or an evening person, like all of these things. Like it needs to be yours, and you're going to optimize your week, your production that's customized to you. And that's the important piece. Your week should enable you and allow you to become a producer big time producer. That's what you need to be. You need to be producing sales. You need to be producing content. You need to be creating conversations that are going to turn into sales. All of these things. You need to provide training to your team. Like, they need you, and you need you at your best. And the optimized week is what's going to get you there. Just wanted to share that with you guys. It keeps coming up in a lot of our conversations internally with clients. And if you want help diving into this, you know where to reach me. And if you're watching on the podcast and or on YouTube at another date, and you really want to tap into the foundational elements of like the habits that you need to adopt as a person, as a CEO, the owner of your business, in order to take it to the next level, let's chat. We can talk about how we can really help you dial this into your business, and we'll catch you next time. If I gave you 5 to 10 new clients, would you or your agency break? If so, your current agency model is broken. I struggle with this too until I found a better way. By adding online programs, training, and coaching to our agency, we doubled profits without adding more hours. If you want to work directly with me and my team to transform your agency, visit myscalablebusiness.com to learn more.